We're here on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, and right now I'm going to be joined by Darin Proffit. He is the Iowa Corn Promotion Board District 7 Director out in the Essex area. And Darin, thanks so much for joining us here today.
Absolutely. I'm honored to be on. This will be interesting. It's been an enjoyable spring so far, so we'll get going. I
Right.
guess I should say a little bit about myself in that I'm from St. Joe, Missouri, and kind of came up here and lucked out with the family that I work for now. So we farm here in Page County, a little bit in northeast North Fremont County. Have 20 head of cattle or so to keep us busy with that, and I run a DeKalb Asgrow seed dealership as well. So
All right, so you're kind of on the front line of everything that we do in Iowa agriculture, and that's great. But we're talking today. First of all, let's kick off talking about the planting season. Obviously, we're going to ask how planting progress is going, but you guys out in your area in the last couple of weeks have already had kind of a rocky start, and thankfully, nothing really terribly crop damage wise, but still, you've had your own some issues to deal with already.
yes, we definitely have had some issues already. There was a tornado 2 weeks ago yesterday that went through. I think it was about 19 miles, is what they measured in distance that it traveled from northern Fremont County on into Page County, and clipping the corner of my town in Essex there before heading off through the countryside. So that definitely put a damper on some people's plans. A lot of buildings were damaged, but like you said, we fortunately lucked out on our crop. There was a little in, but not much was up at that point. So the crop, I did hear there was some cows that were lost in that ordeal through the debris hitting them. So
And unfortunately, livestock's one of those situations where you try to get them protected. And sometimes as we're getting ready though for the season, equipment can be out time at times getting worked on as well. Have you heard any damage that happened to equipment while it was getting prep for spring?
I didn't. I didn't hear of any sort of. Actually, let me take that back. There was a planter and tractor hooked up in a shed because of the storm that got damaged when the shed got um, deleted by the tornado, I'll say. So there was one guy that had to custom. He um, hired in some custom planting to help him get his soybeans done. So I know there was a lot of harvest equipment damaged in a few sheds that were all parked away.
Just the
Eh,
stuff that you're going to have to deal with in that situation. Of course, I understand that. And so let's go ahead and go to planting conditions. We know Mother Nature's always, whether it's tornadoes or just rain shower activity, I mean, she's always got us at her mercy. I mean, how have planting conditions been for you guys so far?
It's been it was really exciting with how early we were able to get started. I just did the math a little bit ago, and um, we were 14 days earlier on the delivery date average from our seed dealership on corn going out the door this year. So we got an early start. Things were great. Conditions were awesome. None of my colleagues in the seed sales world were nervous about conditions like most years. So it was really nice to see that progress. And then we started getting showers every once in a while, no big deal. And now we're just getting rains about every day or every 2 days. Enough rain to kind of keep us out in the morning. Like yesterday, we got a 3/10 of an inch. This morning, we just got another half inch probably. So it's one of those deals you never turn down a spring rain. I'm not mad about it at all, but it's put some waves in our planting and kind of spread out that risk actually. So it's not the worst thing. It's only May 2nd, so we're fine.
Oh, that's good to hear. I mean, so what are you hearing about progress? I mean, how farmers are there some that have gotten already done, some that are close to done, or has it been the rain been slowing things down that much?
I will say that even though we have had some rains, we're so far ahead compared to normal. There's guys that are definitely done with corn and using these breaks to switch their equipment over, or they've gotten their crops all in and they're focused on their spraying now. So it's probably the most spread out I've ever seen planting so far. Like kind of at this end of May, early or end of April, early May time. There's stuff going on in every direction almost. But I would say we're 80-90% done with corn down here in Southwest Iowa on the average, and probably 60 to ish, somewhere around 60% on soybeans are in the ground already, at least out of dealerships and in planters.
Well, that's definitely good news to hear. And, as a seed dealer, obviously you probably talk with your farmers, your customers, and also being on the farm, you guys have got your crop plans kind of set up already, but obviously what kind of things are you anticipating? Are you guys planning for in that part of the state, that you might not always think about, or just something that, hey, this year we've really got to concentrate our priorities on this?
And I know, like this year, we're letting our rye grow a little bit longer than other years. So we're kind of testing the waters there with how long we can let that green rye sit on our soybean acres before we kill it. There's a lot of guys trying that. And I think there's a lot of guys trying some more liquid fertilizers. Maybe not as much anhydrous, a little bit, but between that and the switch up of a lot of people going to 2,4-D tolerant soybeans from dicamba is a big thing in Southwest Iowa, for me at least. We've got a lot of guys switching their entire soybean chemistry program over from dicamba to the 2,4-D enlist system. So that's going to be our biggest management change this year is an entire kind of our primary chemical is getting changed on beans. So that's going to be a learning curve.
So then looking at you're mentioning leaving the rye grow a little longer on the soybeans, what is the hope for trying that method of doing? What are they hoping to get out of that?
What I want to see is kind of a combination of things, but it's definitely going to help our weed suppression. If we can get that mat of dead rye out there, keep some sunlight off of our soil. Yes, it's going to keep our ground moist. That's what we want, and really suppresses our weeds. I mean, I've found that I don't have a stat on how much it suppresses, but the rye is pretty well built into our chemical program for our soybeans now. We've got a couple acres that are corn right now that got some rye, and they're going back to corn. So we'll see how that goes with the rye and corn parity. But uh, mainly it's the weeds for us that we're trying to keep that cover out there, and then just go in with a nice gentle roundup and be able to spray.
Okay, and then I guess last question I got, based on your seed corn and or seed business, I should say, there's been a lot of talk about how many corn acres versus bean acres we may see because of the margins, the profit margins out there. Have you seen that
Yeah.
correlation out there in your business?
I have not actually. So I tell everyone every year you're going to have some evening up of landlords and that sort of issue, but on the average, I do not have a big corn rootworm type sales increase this year at all. I know we've had this talk at the Iowa Corn Board meetings and stuff about that exact thing, and I don't know where the corn on corn acres are, but down in my neck of the woods, I mean the continued corn on corn is going to stay there, but I don't see a big switch too big of a switch. So
Okay, that sounds good. Is there anything else that we didn't cover today, Darin, that you want the farmers around the state to know, or especially in your neck of the woods?
I would just like to reiterate that it is May 2nd. We have time. Rain is good, and in July we will definitely be begging for this rain. So just take the time to get organized, stay organized, and work your plan and plan your work and work your plan there.
All right. Well, Darin, we thank you so much for taking the time to visit with us today. Look forward to hearing more good things throughout the year.
Definitely. Yeah. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.